The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is presented by BUSCH.
I'd like you just to stop for a moment, and the competition is going to be great here, and there are going to be a couple of guys extremely happy and a couple of guys really disappointed, and that's the way sport is. But just think for a moment on getting to do something that you can do and really, really enjoy what you're doing, knowing that if you had a day off, you'd be doing just what you're doing today for nothing. I've been able all my life to do something that I enjoyed as a kid, and so are you guys. And you know, it can't really happen. What you're doing and what I'm doing, it can't happen anywhere but in this country. It just doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. Where else could I be doing what I'm doing here today? Where else in the world? And there is nowhere else.
Hi, and welcome to the very first Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail Elite 50 Tournament. I'm Tommy Sanders, and you saw right, you heard right. That was the legend, Coach Bobby Knight, addressing the anglers right there at the top of our show before they began fishing on the first day. Those faces you saw there, well, those are the 12 anglers who will be fishing today. The day we're covering right now, the qualifying day for the championship, the guys trying to make the final 6. What is the Elite 50? Well, we'll be talking about that all through the show today. As we start out thinking about it, try to consider maybe marrying the All-Star game with the playoffs. It's that big. It is the next big step in the sport of bass fishing. Let's take you back to the first 2 days of competition. It is a 4-round series, the Elite 50, and of course the first round being fought right here, Lake Dardanelle on the Arkansas River as it flows between the Ouachitas and the Ozark Mountains. And this week, Lake Dardanelle should be at its peak. The first 2 days of competition, we had the full field, the full Elite 50, fishing the full Lake Dardanelle. Who are the Elite 50? Well, they get to the Elite 50 in several ways. Some of them on the basis of their money winnings over their full career, some of them on the basis of points production through the last 3 seasons. And of course, we throw into the mix our Citgo Angler of the Year, the Rookie of the Year, and this man, our reigning Citgo Bassmasters Classic champ, Mike HACKNEY.
Yeah, that's the first one, baby. First one's the hardest one.
What? A takeoff on day number 1, another former Classic champ, Davey Height, and the small aluminum boat amidst all the big 200-plus horsepower.
You ever heard of the tortoise and the hare? Well, they passed me. Tommy passed me. He knew where I was going, and he waved as he was doing 70 miles an hour, and I was doing about 27. And here I passed him. Right on vibe. He's pushing me back there, so that should be, we should disqualify him. Well, they got those big, heavy fiberglass boats in there, and they disturbed my little quiet hole, and they just messed things up for me.
Davey didn't score, but Tim Horton sure did on day 1. Takes the lead, 17 pounds and 7 ounces, and can't wait to get at him again on day 2.
The wind's going to blow, but hopefully that won't change anything. I'm going to go back to that same area and milk it for all it's worth. You know, we start over come Friday, so what you catch today is eliminated anyway, so I'm going to hit it pretty hard.
All right. Oh, I didn't even throw this bait yesterday, man. We have got...
That was one of the high points. Overall, not as good a day for Tim Horton. He falls 3 spots in the standings, but remains in the top 12. Zell Roland had some trouble early, but charged in late. He keeps his spot. He's firmly in the top 12. The best production of the day came from Kelly Jordan of Texas.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah.
32 pounds, 5 ounces. That's impressive, but good only for bragging rights. We zero the weights and start again on day 3.
Yeah.
We're going to hammer them. This is not your mama's bass tournament. Don't think it's going to be easy. It's going to be for the truly, truly the best of the best. That's why we're here today. Y'all stay with us right here on ESPN2. We're going bass fishing, the first ever E-50 bass tournament.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by BUSCH. By Yamaha. And by Skeeter.
Welcome back to the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, our very first Elite 50 tournament event. This is the first round of this 4-tournament series to decide who is the best of the best in the world of bass fishing. The top 50 anglers from the Citgo Bassmaster Tour. They qualified in different ways, some on the basis of their earnings, some on the basis of their points through the years, but we're here on Lake Dardanelle to decide the first round. This is the first time we've ever had such a late start. We are starting today, this third qualifying day, at 10 a.m. in the morning, so more people can get to the weigh-in. So far this week, it has really worked. We have had some great crowds here. 12 boats have started at the launch, and we have 12 boats moving out onto our course. We're here with JERRYMCKINNIS now, Jerry, and we have got a fantastic 6-hole course to test these guys on. Of course, this water has been off limits all week long.
It absolutely has, and the course in the Illinois Bayou is approximately 4 miles long, again divided into 6 different holes. And yeah, this has been off limits to the whole field for 30 days. So these 12 guys that have qualified for today's fishing have never seen this water before. They have an hour and 20 minutes to go into a hole, catch a few fish, figure it out, and then move on to the next hole.
And it is pure competition, that's for sure. No one has an advantage. Let's take a look at our course now and set our anglers on the course. In hole number 1 is going to be Gary Klein and Dean Rojas.
And we've got a great little pocket off to the west side of the lake. Ought to be very, very busy place.
Kenyon Hill and Jay Yellis in hole number 2.
Also a little pocket on the west side of the lake. Those are both going to be interesting spots.
Our Texas guys, Jordan and Roland in hole 3, and in hole 4, Tim Horton and Greg Hackney.
I think 3 and 4 are the top holes on the course. Matter of fact, this is the cleanest, clearest water. Fish ought to be spawning back there.
Stacy King and Randy Howell in hole 5.
Hole 5 doesn't move me a whole lot. It doesn't have a lot of personality.
Brent Chapman, Kevin VANDAM going to start in hole number 6 right there at the launch.
Lots of riprap in hole number 6. That will be an interesting hole.
All right, let's pick up Gary Klein. He's motoring out and finding his spot in hole number 1.
A little protected area. I haven't been in it, but this is the type of water that I've been fishing. And, you know, this hasn't been fished all week long, so it's going to be real interesting to see what I can do in here in an hour and 20 minutes. I might be able to catch me a good bag right here first thing to start this thing off with. It's the reason why I chose hole number 1, just because I really felt that this area in here is kind of unmolested.
You assume that these guys are going first to the places that play to their strengths.
Yeah, they have not seen this water before, Tommy, but they have been on water like it, qualifying to get here, so they've got an idea. And one of the patterns, one of the real good techniques is to fish shallow water with crankbaits, which is what Gary Klein is doing right here.
All right, their work. That's what I need. I need 4 more like that today, and I'll have a good bag. You fish haven't seen my bait in here for all week long. That's what's going to make this a fun trip around this course.
Once again, we're starting this 3rd day of competition with the weights zeroed. So Gary Klein is on the board. Kelly Jordan starting his fun in hole number 3.
The last time we saw him starting a day, Tommy, I believe he caught an 8-pounder.
He did very well.
We'll probably not catch an 8-pounder today because these fish are going to run from 2 pounds to 4 pounds in that area right there. As a matter of fact, we have a 15-inch limit, and they are going to wear out their measuring board, I promise you.
Kelly Jordan did so well at Lake Santee Cooper in our last outing. Stacy King, who finished 2nd at Lake Guntersville.
Kind of showing off a square bill crankbait right there. We're gonna say that a number of times a day, square bill crankbait. And a square bill will allow the bait to run very shallow and have a lot of swim to it. It also lets it bounce off of rocks and off brush a little bit better than a round bill crankbait.
I believe that might keep. Be still. Be still. It's gonna be real close. Gonna be real close. Oh yeah, gosh, it's 16 inches. Let me get my...
Stacy King with a good one on the board. He didn't think that was going to make it. He had room to spare.
Boy, he had a lot of room to spare, didn't he? And Gary Klein here is throwing a square bill crankbait. But guess what, Tommy? He made this himself.
Pretty good to be homemade, huh?
Homemade Gary Klein crankbait with a skirt on the back of it, which I'm sure he put on there himself, too. He really has a homemade deal going, and that fish...
That's close.
Gary, let's measure that a little bit more.
Gary's got a lot of confidence in his day. He didn't look at that one twice. The fish goes overboard. He's ready to catch a bigger one.
I have never been able to really figure out exactly the cast to catch the fish. They've been just basically around this grass. Catch them on the front side, back side, right in the middle. That was a keeper. That was a keeper.
Gary KLEIN from Weatherford, Texas, multiple Angler of the Year titles, never won a classic.
And sometimes you'll look out in front of the boat and you'll be able to picture dark water, almost like a cloud is over the sun. Well, that's actually the grass under the water. All the grass that these guys are fishing are not necessarily sticking out where you can see it, but the fish are definitely around the grass.
Another keeper for Gary KLEIN. He's doing well in the early going here in the first period. Now we're fishing 6 periods on a 6-hole course.
And we are back in the back end of the hole course, hole number 4. A much anticipated spot because a lot of fish are spawning and everybody thought that number 4 might be the best hole for that. This is Greg Hackney in there. And there's a lot of strip pits in this area. In years past, they mined this area, pulling gravel and chunk rock out that they built the ripraps and the bridges around the lake. So this is extremely clear water.
Because I knew this water was going to be clear. And I just don't like it.
Only guy this morning with the light line and the spinning tackle, but who's going to argue with the results Greg Hackney's been getting?
Boy, hottest fisherman on the planet, I believe, and he's dead sticking a little tiki worm.
This is my lucky
and the correct
fishing
look
hat.
so important to this man, Randy Howell.
This is called a goofball hat. It's got the big floppy long ears that covers my neck and my ears and gives me a big bill. This is a Middle Eastern sight fishing hat.
Come on, man.
All right, one time. I usually don't do this, but just for y'all today. Here we go. All right, so straight.
I'll keep it on, Randy. That is a strong look. When we come back, Tim Horton looks for his first keeper, and Greg Hackney lights him up. We'll wrap up round number 1 when we return. Welcome back to Lake Dardanelle in Russellville, Arkansas. The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, our very first Elite 50 competition. 12 anglers out here on this 3rd qualifying day, fishing a 6-hole course. This course is fashioned from Illinois Bayou. It runs in, forms probably the biggest arm of Lake Dardanelle here. A lot of water coming in from the Ozarks.
And the top qualifiers, of course, got to pick holes first. Zell Roland is seen here in hole number 3. He's in that hole with Kelly Jordan. Horton and Hackney picked the other good hole, hole number 4. And talked earlier about the guys fishing the grass. You saw the grass right there. However, Zell is not throwing a crankbait in that grass. He's swimming a jig. And a number of guys are swimming a jig. And this is a, you know what, Tommy? This is a technique that I don't know we've seen in a long time. But it is a,
2 of his.
You know, it's about a 3/8, maybe a ½ ounce jig that is worked with a trailer through that grass, and boy, it is really effective.
On now to Tim Horton in hole number 4, Tuscumbia, Alabama. The man who won, well, look at that right there.
That is a bass bed.
Yeah, Tim Horton won the Angler of the Year title his first year on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour.
Timmy's a looking, isn't he?
Boy, he is.
He's got his eyes trying to get his eyes zeroed in on one. And again, hole number 4 seemed to be the spot where the spawning bass were going to be. That's the hole also that Greg Hackney is in.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, don't get in that grass, don't get in that grass, don't get in that grass, baby. That 8-pound test line, I just don't want to get in no hurry. Come here. 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 Get to there.
We mentioned it already. If you want to learn how to be the hottest angler in bass fishing, you need to take notes when this guy, Greg Hackney, is on camera.
And you know what? He doesn't want to talk about this, but he missed out on becoming the Angler of the Year and the Rookie of the Year by 3 ounces.
Why did I start in here? I knew to do that. Got greedy.
I know what to try.
Well, Kenyon Hill has caught 3 keepers in hole number 2, and in the same hole, Jay Ellis, well, nothing. He's struggling.
They don't have enough rods out yet. That's the deal. If you're not catching fish and you have 10 rods on the front deck, you need to reach in the rod box and pull out number 11, baby. Sometimes number 11 makes all the difference in the world.
Well, he may be the former classic champ, but hey, not everyone is impressed.
It's got some, this water's a lot clearer than what I've been fishing this week, so I'm gonna pull out this frenzy crankbait right here. Dives down about 9 feet. Try getting a little deeper. I've been fishing these little shallow square lip plugs and not getting deep enough. I don't believe I'm getting deep enough.
Maybe a keeper. If it is, it's a spot.
Greg Hackney can't keep him off his lure, the story of his life for the past couple of years. We're looking for the top 6 out of these 12 qualifiers today, and just making it to the top 6 is not all of the job. You got to keep catching fish because we are carrying the weights over from today until day 4, the championship day.
And I keep remembering the watercolor that Jay Yellis was fishing in a minute ago. Almost muddy. Boy, look how clear this water is right here. And Greg probably is sick that he didn't get back here and fish in this particular area a little bit sooner because he's just about done.
Time to go. I need 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes.
All right, period number 1 is history. Let's take a look now at the leaderboard after 1 period of fishing. Greg Hackney at the top, 7 pounds, followed by Kenyon Hill, 3 anglers with 5 pounds each. In pursuit, some notables with goose eggs so far. That would include Kevin VANDAM, Jay Yellis, and Randy Howell. But again, this is just the first period of 6 periods of fishing, 6 different holes. And Jerry, they're picking up, they're moving, and getting ready to start period number 2.
Another hour and 20 minutes to go. 16 fish caught in that first round. Now,
Not
that's
bad,
pretty good.
not bad.
Hole number 4 was one of the hotter spots. This is the shallow water hole. A lot of fish bedding back there. And guess who's moving in? Kelly Jordan, one of the best sight fishermen around. Zell Roland's moving in there with him. Number 2 was awful good, too. Gary Klein and Dean Rojas are about to jump on hole number 2.
Well, meanwhile, everyone's wondering how Randy Howell is going to do when he comes to what we call the home hole. Hole number 6, right there by the launch. Plus, the grass here at Dardanelle is different. We'll take a close look at that all when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trails Elite 50 competition. There is our 6-hole course that our 12 anglers are fishing on the 3rd day of competition. We started with the 50 fish for 2 days. We're down to the 12. Now we're trying to find 6 spots for the championship. Meanwhile, things are cooking up back at the weigh-in. Alton Jones out here, our only 2-sport competitor here this weekend. He fished the first 2 days, and now he's got his dog Sandy, and now he's trying to the big air competition. Just like in the great outdoor games, a broad jump event for dogs. Sandy needed to go a little bit farther there. Lots of activities going on there. We got a lot to talk about here. But right now, let's take it out to Tim Horton on the water. And Tim, you had the lead on the first day. No keepers today. So many decisions to be made in such a short period of time. Each fishing period. This really could be the ultimate test for an angler, huh?
Yeah, you're exactly right, because do you take your time and really milk an area, or do you go real fast and try to find a school? So, you know, that's the whole, it's the toughest thing that you could possibly do. You know, when we're fishing regular days, you know, we've had time to pre-fish and get out on the lake and find where those areas are, but this has been off limits to us now for 30 days, and getting out here just from scratch makes it kind of tough.
Tim Horton making a great point there. This water has been off limits for the first 2 days of the competition, so there's absolutely no advantage to be gained by preparation on the part of these anglers. It's pure fishing skills competition. But Jerry, you know and I know these guys try to give themselves an advantage every time they go into a new hole, go straight to that grass.
Have we seen a fish caught that wasn't off the grass? Our riprap,
Right.
And the riprap may play a bigger part here a little bit later on, but that grass has served several fishermen very well. And you know, you can go down the bank, go down a lot of these banks, or go back in the bay and find no grass. You'll find no bass there either. But you're looking for these patches. You hit one that will be in probably 1, maybe 3 feet of water, and that's when your whole world will change. Now, these areas are all about spawning. If the grass grows there, then that tells you that the bottom is right and the bass will bed there. And actually start him a family. And swim the jig through that grass or this little shallow running crankbait have been the ticket so far. I've got Randy Howell's little bandit right here. And you can see the square bill that I've been talking about. And you also know that the line tie is right on the nose of the lure. And that tells me that this little guy isn't going much deeper than about 2 feet of water. Now, the secret is to parallel the bank. Don't get your boat way back off the bank, throw it in, and bring it into the deep water. Get your boat right on the bank and throw it down the bank. That way the lure is in a productive area 95% of the time back to the boat. And when we slow that little guy down, you can see that when it bangs off the rocks, and that's where that square bill really plays a part in there. When it bangs off the rocks, it really has a great action. Randy Howell is in hole number 6. He's already caught 2 keepers on this little square bill.
There he is. Oh, man, that's a good one. That's a good one, boy. Be a bass, baby. Be a bass. It feels like a striper. Oh, boy, it feels like a striper. I hope that's a bass. Let's let it be a bass. If that's a bass, it's a big one. Oh, it's a bass hooked in the tail. Oh, my gosh. Let me get this one in. Look at that. I'm good him, baby. Woo! I can't catch him in the mouth, but I can catch him in the tail. That's awesome. Look at that. That's a good one, too, boy. Woo! That's that grace I was talking about. So you don't get them in hooked in the tail very often. If you're sight fishing, you have to throw them back. But I ain't sight fishing, so I get to keep him. It's hard to catch them in the tail, boy. You got to be sharp. You got to see which way they're laying in the sun and try to run into them if they don't want to bite it. That sounds like that Roland Martin bull you hear on TV, don't it?
Uh-oh, well, over to Jay Ellis, the classic champ in 2002, backed it up with an Angler of the Year in 2003. And if he can get this one in, and it's a keeper, this will be his first fish today. He's zeroed so far.
Keeper. Start, that fish missed my white swim jig, so I flipped that gulp sinking minnow in there and got him.
Remember, these anglers spent about an hour, 20 minutes in each hole. We're about halfway through period number 2 right now.
15 and a half.
And Randy Howell is wearing the dike out over here. And when we had 50 anglers, Tommy, you'll remember every one of them passed out of this area, went right by this old rocky point, and don't you know they were drooling? Well, Randy is definitely taking advantage of it right now.
Gosh, yeah.
Woo! Boy, Randy has caught a limit from where we see him sitting right there back to that point. 5 fish.
Woo! Man, this is awesome. I'm gonna get excited in a minute.
And on the other side of that same dike, also in hole number 6, Stacey King.
Come here, come here, come here, come here. Come here. Get in here. Yes. My best competitor right there, Randy Howell.
Stacey King and Randy Howell really working over this hole number 6 here, getting their money's worth.
2 3/4.
We go from here at really the home end of the course all the way to the back, hole number 4. And we're about to run out of time in period number 2 of fishing.
And this sight fishing is pretty interesting. You know, we run into guys during the year that say they spend an hour, 2 hours on a particular fish. You better be careful with an hour, 20 minutes, how you use it. And if you run into a fish that you think you can catch, you better be able to catch him, because if you waste 45 minutes and don't catch him, you're in a lot of trouble.
That's it, boys. Had about 10 seconds when I made the last cast. He's hooked in the mouth there. Whew. All right, 2 to go. Next hole, boys.
Well, meanwhile, things are starting to pick up back at the weigh-in area, back at the expo. Man, we got the whole fishing experience for you here, including the skills competition. How about this casting tournament here? This is a little flipping competition between Steve Browning and Edwin Everson, actually bursting glass plates back there at the back. These two guys are hard at it. A lot else going on here. The Big Air Dogs are also competing out here today. ESPN The Truck, a chance to get behind the scenes and look at the total ESPN experience. Thousands of visitors drifting in over the days of this fishing tournament, so it really has been a big deal.
I just do it together anytime in the eye. Just do it together.
But we do have more business to take care of. Start round number 3. That's one thing we got to do. We got to check in with Kevin VanDam, see if Greg Hackney's going to start culling pretty soon. That's all on the way. Stay with us. Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail inaugural Elite 50 tournament. We're on Lake Dardanelle in Russellville, Arkansas. This is the third qualifying day. We got 12 anglers out there fishing a 6-hole course on Illinois Bayou, trying to make it into the Super 6. The 6 will fish on championship day.
And our period that we just finished wasn't very good. That was the second period. Actually, the first period we caught 16 fish. Only caught 9 fish in period number 2. Randy Howell caught 5 of them, caught his limit in hole number 6. Greg Hackney caught a couple fish in hole number 5, the hole that I predicted wouldn't be very good, but we're hopeful that period number 3 will be a little better.
We'll take a look at the scoreboard there. Randy Howell, the guy in command right now, the only guy with the limit, and 11 pounds. Greg Hackney right behind him with 9 pounds. He's got 4 fish, so when he catches his next fish, it goes right in there. He's not culling yet. A lot of ground to be made up by many of these anglers, most of whom have 2 fish or less.
And how come every time we look up, Greg Hackney is in the finals?
This is Greg Hackney up in hole number 6. We'll see how he gets his crack at it going. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, Jerry, King and Howell really wore it out.
He's fishing a crankbait, but he's not on the dike there at the takeoff. He's a little bit further around the corner, but he is throwing a shallow running crankbait. And that will be fish number 5.
Randy Howell now in hole number 1. There have been 6 keepers caught here so far.
Something that I notice, I've seen the same shot a number of times, different fishermen in it, which tells me these guys very quickly find the same things. And I think that's pretty amazing. You said earlier how quickly they go to the grass. Well, they can pick out a good bank. They can pick out a good riprap very quickly. And I guess that's what makes them the big boys, Tommy.
Come here. Come here. Oh, man. Give me your head. Whew, Lord. One hook. Look at that one. Tick. Whew. He looked like a 4-pounder by side of the boat. If he'd have got off, he'd have been a 4-pounder.
Randy Howell with the limit, and now he's piling on. He's in the culling position now across the course to hole number 5. And Kelly Jordan, Mineola, Texas, he's been lagging so far today coming into this third period of fishing. 2 fish and only 4 pounds.
Lots of talk about swimming a jig. Kelly Jordan is swimming a tube, doing very well with it.
Over to Kevin VanDam. Things are starting to happen now. We're jumping around a good bit. This is hole number 2. And Kevin VanDam looks like he may have a keeper. He does have a keeper on there.
And he is swimming a jig. It really doesn't matter. Anything like a jig or a tube will work. It's just finding the right piece of grass. Actually, Kevin's had a pretty tough day. He's had a lot of hits.
On the bank.
He's had some good fish on and have lost them. And I think he's gonna agree with me. He's having a tough day. But he's still looking for grass, and you can see it right there in front of his boat. A nice line of grass.
Oh, there's good water on this stuff right here.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of traffic in this area, a lot of cars, a lot of spectators, a lot of highways come together around Illinois Bayou here in Lake Dardanelle.
Hey, thank you, Lord.
Well, there's Stacey King having a conversation and catching good ones at the same time.
That jig and threw it 4 or 5 times, had 2 or 3 little old bites, and then look at this big old chunk hit that thing. I can't believe it. We'll just drop her right in and see if we can catch another one there real quick. I'm gonna put a little fresh water in with them. I love it, I love it, I love it.
Stacey King feeling the momentum here. That's about 8.5 pounds for Stacey as we move out to Zell Roland. Some tough competition
Yeah,
going out on our 6-hole course right now. These anglers, these 12 guys trying to make it to the final 6, the Super 6, who will fish in the championship. This one right here gives Zell Roland 8.5 pounds. 5th and 6th place. Well, actually tied for 5th now, Stacey King and Zell Roland right along that cut line. So it's some tough competition out there.
Well, you're talking about bubble guys right here. Actually, Kevin VANDAM has 2 more fish to catch to even get to the bubble. And Kevin, I believe you can do that, but I want to ask you something else here. This is the first major bass tournament ever to start at 10 o'clock in the morning and end at 6:30 in the evening. Do you have to program your mind and your body any differently for that?
Yeah, it's, hang on, I got a good one right now, Jerry. Oh, a drum.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah. I've been the king of trash this week. I've caught a bunch of catfish and a bunch of drum and gar, everything.
Well, again, I want to ask you how this late start affects you.
Well, it's one of those things, you know, normally when you go out early in the morning, you get geared up for that early morning bite, and now you kind of got to get yourself geared at the end of the day for that evening bite, because there's usually a few bass that are going to get real aggressive late in the day. And, you know, then I can pick that spinnerbait or buzzbait up again and hopefully catch a few. So, you know, you can't get yourself down. I've had probably one of the most frustrating tournament days I've had in a long time this morning already. But I just caught a good fish a few minutes ago, and you know, I'm gonna try to fight through it, and I'm really looking forward to that last hour of fishing. I know the fish are going to be more aggressive, and hopefully they'll get to eat the bait. So if I can fight through and catch a couple more fish now, I think in that last hole, it could be real good.
Oh. There's Greg Hackney. He's fishing in hole number 6. Surprisingly, not fishing that breakwater dike that protects the loading ramp. But we saw Stacey King and Randy Howell score so much in period number 2. But we're not going to question, as we mentioned earlier, Greg Hackney. He's fished 12 events with the Citgo Bassmasters. Coming into this one, finished in the top 10 times. Kind of rivals the record of this guy right here, Kevin VANDAM.
Be close.
Into 12 classics. He's won 1 of them. One back in 2001.
Shad eating, dude.
Trying to make the final 6.
Oh my God. Keeper.
Keeper for VANDAM. Catch a limit. Find some fishing spots for the final day. And build up your weight for that championship day as well. These are the goals. We're running out of time to get the job done. We'll find out who our Super 6, our 6 finalists are when we come back.
A standard Citgo Bassmaster Tour event can be plagued by a number of things. Most of the time, it involves bad weather. But the Citgo Bassmaster Elite 50 on Lake Dardanelle saw a plague of different sorts. We'll tell you more when we return. Bass fishing isn't supposed to be a contact sport, but that wasn't necessarily the case at the Citgo Bassmaster Elite 50 on Lake Dardanelle.
And those buffalo gnats are killing me too. They told me you go down to Walmart and you go into the women's hygiene department and you buy this stuff, some kind of fragrance spray. So, oh yeah, I go down there and I'm all smelling like some warm vanilla sugar this morning. That's right, they smoke it like crack. I got bumps all over me. They've been up in my ears, all up in my nose. So not only did I smell like I was kind of sweet, the bugs thought I was sweet. So tomorrow, I think I'm just gonna go get me some super unleaded Citgo gas and just douse myself in it. Daring to come eat that. The fish is killing me here. What do you think?
Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail inaugural Elite 50 tournament. The top 50 anglers. Citgo Bassmaster Tour out here fishing Lake Dardanelle, Russellville, Arkansas. There's our 6-hole course right there. We've got 12 anglers fishing today, the 3rd qualifying day, trying to make it to championship day. And finally, in round number 4, hole number 2, Tim Horton possibly getting off the goose egg. Boy, he needs a great finish to make the Super 6 field in the final day competition. Tim Horton led this field on day number 1, has had just terrible, terrible results today.
Finally, number 1.
Well, other than Tim's catch, periods 4 and 5 of the fishing were actually the slowest 2 of the day. So we're going to move everything forward, move forward to period number 6, the last fishing period of the day, the last rotation. And as we move into this period, the 2 guys on the bubble are Stacey King and Zell Roland, tied for 5th place with 8.5 pounds. Those are the 2 guys who are the most vulnerable right now. They have to do good in their spots.
One more period left, another hour and 20 minutes, and Zell and Stacey better hold on. Stacey, good news. He's in hole number 4. That's the second best hole on the course. There's been 10 keepers caught out of there. The bad news for Stacey is that Zell is in hole number 2. That was the best hole. There was 12 keepers there.
The battle is on for the 6 final spots.
Well, and Tommy, the ballad of hole number 2 doesn't end there. Kelly Jordan is also in that hole. And I'll tell you what, I'm doing my figuring here. Kelly's got 7 pounds, 1 good fish, and boy, he has found his grass. When Kelly finds his grass, gets that tube in there, he's pretty dangerous. But man, he can give Zell Roland and Stacey King both a lot of problems.
Yes. Got him. Ha-ha.
Number 4. Number 4 for Kelly Jordan. He's pumped up. Hey, these fish are definitely reacting to a real erratic moving lure. So a jig with a trailer slashing around in that grass, boy, that does the trick. Kelly Jordan's using a dark tube. Randy Howell, boy, he's been hooked on a white jig with a white trailer all week long. And with his rod tip now, he gives the rig a lot of action.
Oh, man. There he is. Good one. There he is, boys. There he is. This is a good one. I saw him eat it. Yeah. God, I thought he was bigger than that. Whew. He looked bigger than that, man. Sound like HACKNEY saying it's a giant 2.5 pounder. Sorry, folks. Don't talk about me. I saw him chase it, and I thought he was gone. I kept hopping in that grass, and he come up and got it anyway. He couldn't stand it.
The rich keep getting richer, but that's part of the game on this 3rd qualifying day. You put more fish in because they carry the weight into championship day. The more hay you can put in the barn, the better.
What happened to Gary Klein? We haven't seen him for, boy, since early. Matter of fact, Jay Yellis, haven't seen much of Jay, and boy, that's the way fishing is. These guys get off to such a good start, and you think you've got it going, and boy, it turns around on you in a hurry.
Watching Kelly Jordan now, of the 27 anglers who qualified on points over the last 3 years, your top man, the #1 points getter, this guy right here, Kelly Jordan.
Boy, he's getting himself in solid position.
That's number 5, boys and girls.
Thank you, Lord.
Our check-in time is, believe it or not, 6:30 p.m. We have the best anglers in the world fishing at an unheard of time frame.
There's a big one. Right here, right here, right here. Oh, yeah. Woo! Good God almighty. Look at that one. He busted it. Woo! Man, what a bite. Right when you think there won't gonna be one there, poof. Won't no missing him. He got it. I think he ate it, didn't he?
Randy Howell, 30 years of age, may well be setting himself up for his first Bassmasters victory. He's certainly a lock for the final day. Meanwhile, this man, Stacey King, is locked in a battle with this man, Zell Roland, to stay at the north side of that bubble. This is a fight to the end for these 2 guys in this final period.
That fish didn't count, so Zell's still in a fight with Stacey, and we've moved over to Gary Klein now. And I want you to remember that we started this event 3 days ago with 50 anglers, and although Gary Klein will probably not make the finals, he beat 30 other guys to get this far.
Last cast. Can you believe that? Last cast. But I had, there was 8 keeper bites today, and I lost 5. And, you just can't beat these guys if you don't execute. And one of the reasons why I'm losing a lot of the fish is the technique I'm using, trying to catch them on a shallow running crankbait, and I'm trying to draw the fish out from this real heavy aquatic vegetation, the shoreline grass that's growing. And it just seemed to me like the fish were real nippy.
Well, because they were the best, the heroes, the Elite 50, and because of the unique weigh-in time, the late start, and the 7 p.m. weigh-in time, we have record crowds awaiting these 12 anglers. 6 of them will have their hearts broken. 6 will be able to show up on championship day.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by Busch Light. By Purolator. And by Spiderwire.
The time has come. We're just about ready to establish our final 6. Our Super 6 will fish the championship in the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail Elite 50 Tournament. Now, the tournament's not over yet, so we haven't established a Purolator Big Bass for the entire event. But so far, the leader, 6 pounds, 2 ounces. That's shared by Zell, Roland, and Tim Horton, both from day 1. It's a beautiful evening in spring here on Lake Dardanelle, Russellville, Arkansas. And take a look at this crowd. This is huge. Unheard of for any event but the Bassmaster Classic. But now we are ready to get things going. We'll find out who our Super 6 are. First to the stand, Randy Howell.
Welcome, Randy Howell. Looks good.
Had a good day.
Watch him light it up. 15 pounds of bass.
The Lord really blessed me today. It was just one of those days. These holes, I fished just loose and free today, and everything just went really smooth. And I pray tomorrow will be like that too, because I'd love to win this tournament. Hadn't been in a position in a long time, but who lives down here in Arkansas that is responsible for these gnats? Because the Lord put this plague on somebody down here. And I tell you, don't y'all bring them to Alabama. I'd quit fishing if I had them where I live.
Chad Brower had an allergic reaction.
I might have, too, if I hadn't been catching fish. I had them fly out my nose. You'd feel them up in my head and my brain. They get in my ears. They come out the other side. And my cameraman, I looked back at him, and his white T-shirt would just be just dotted. And I said, man, give me your camera and let me film you so you can see how this looks.
Great job today. Take a stool right here. Randy Howell, he's in. Please welcome the Hack Attack, Greg Hackney. He wants to go out there tomorrow, weight 12 pounds. Yes, sir. That'll move you unofficially into 2nd place, Hackney. What was the best hole for you?
Well, actually, I guess it was between 2 holes.
2 and 4? 1 and 6?
No.
3 and 5?
7 and 8.
No, there are no 7s and 8s.
Well, I numbered them myself.
Okay. You see? That's very smart, my man. What do you think?
Looks pretty good from here.
Looks very good.
Yeah, I believe I might be able to do it again tomorrow.
You go over to school right there.
Okay.
Yeah, follow that rookie right over there. This is Mr. Kelly Jordan. KJ, you ready?
I'm ready, Fizz. Let's work.
You need 8 pounds. 11 pounds, 15 ounces. Kelly Jordan, you're in. Well, Mr. Jordan, you've been up there in the top 6 all week, and now you're in 3rd place.
Yeah, I'm happy to be in 3rd. I tell you what, the guys over here caught him pretty good, and at least I caught enough to stay alive today. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Just came off a win. Santee Cooper, final Citgo Bassmaster Tour of the season. Looking good.
It's looking good. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Really glad I made the cut. Caught some good fish, and I think I maybe kind of figured some stuff out today, so hopefully I get a good shot at them tomorrow.
All right, KJ, grab that stool right there.
All right, rounding out the Super 6, Brent Chapman of Shawnee, Kansas, 5-fish limit and a good weight. 11 pounds, 14 ounces for 4th place.
I had a really good day, and, all of this tournament, I haven't had a 4-pound bite, and I really felt like, I was going to get one, and I did get one today, but they didn't stay on my hook. So.
You are going to take a stool right now.
Kenyon Hill of Norman, Oklahoma, 4 fish, 9 pounds and 2 ounces. He's in 5th place. And there's a tie for 6th place between Stacey King and Zell Roland. Both had 8-10. Zell goes in based on the tiebreaker number of keepers caught.
Zell, man,
We say bye-bye, VANDAM. Don't laugh at him.
I'm not laughing at him.
I'm staying behind you.
KVD's out.
He's gone. VANDAM, wait a second. Ladies and gentlemen, your Super 6!
Plenty of fireworks on the water, and at the weigh-in today, the crowd is pumped. They've got their 6 finalists, the Super 6, who will fish for the championship, led by Howell, Hackney, and Jordan. This is as solid a 6 as you will find anywhere, Jerry.
And look at those weights. They will hang on to those weights, take them back up to the same course on championship day. So actually, Randy Howell's got a little bit of an edge here, about a 3-pound edge, and the crowds were just outstanding. I have to bring that up. I can't imagine us beating that crowd on championship day.
Oh, I bet you we will. I bet you we will. It's the championship at the E-50.
Hey, I got just a few more stats for you. These are very interesting. 56 fish came from the course this day. And from 10 o'clock to 12:40, the first two settings, there was 25 fish caught. Very good, okay? From 2 o'clock to 4:40, there were only 7 fish caught, and that kind of surprises me. Makes you think that maybe the holes aren't as important as what time of the day you're out there.
And would you have thought that 10 o'clock in the morning would be the best time?
I would not have.
Me neither. I think a lot of people wouldn't have thought that. But we're still looking for the 10 heaviest bags, the 10 bush heavyweights to fish in the bush shootout at the end of the season. Haven't entered one from Lake Dardanelle yet. So, the bush heavyweight from 32 pounds, 2 ounces, Kelly Jordan at Santee Cooper is going to be on top of the list. Ben Matsubu's 23.10 from Eufaula is in the number 10 position. But you never know, again, what's going to happen on the final day, but we'll see everything from championship day at this first round of the E-50 when we see you next time, May 8th, 10:30 a.m. See you then.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Oh, my gosh.
For more, log on to Bassmaster.com.